Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to go over my first impression on Beta and Cherry La. Like last time, instead of going over the whole kit, Exotic Revolution and reading all of that, we're going to ignore that part. I'm just going to comment on like what they do, what the key components of their kits are, and then we're going to focus on my thoughts and opinions on the unit, what they're good at, what they struggle with, and also whether you should be pulling for them or not based on some different scenarios that you might be in. So that's going to be the core focus of this video. And I also decided not to have the website on the background in this case, because for the first impression, I don't have any information in there. Everything that I have there is basically what you see in game. So I thought having the game on screen was a bit better. So let me know also about this in the comments, how you feel about this format. And yeah, then we'll see also how to improve the future ones. So yeah, that being said, we can get started, I would say, with Beta. This guy is the SSR Plus unit of the update. He's a red assassin. And I am a bit confused about him, to be honest. He has a lot of damage in his kit, theoretically, and he dishes out a lot of damage, but I don't like his main DPS playstyle, to be honest. I think this unit has a lot of value at zero dupes. It's basically an improved Endorsey. So if you are familiar with how Endorsey works, she just teleports to the lowest defense enemy, and Beta is the same. And by doing that, you are basically drawing aggro from the enemies, which is kind of an early grouping unit. We can think of that as sort of a maybe worse version of Anna. I think Anna is still a bit better at grouping, but they're close enough, I think. And also this guy is way better than Endorsey because he's a stall tank. He has a 10-second immortality in the passive, which is pretty dope. And he also has quite decent utility because whenever he uses a skill, he's going to destroy barriers when he's in the passive state. That is going to last for 10 seconds and increase by 5 seconds on every assist on enemies. So when somebody kills an enemy, his duration on the immortality is going to be extended by 5 seconds. So yeah, that's pretty solid. I think it's a lot of value for a zero dupes unit. All that the dupes do for him is just increases damage, which is nice to see because it means it doesn't need dupes at all. And also his Revolution 4 is kind of trash. So this unit is kind of a zero dupes or Rainbow 5 kind of unit. So I would say zero dupes provides some utility. You might not need that utility, so maybe you don't even need to get Beta to zero dupes at all. But yeah, for sure, don't just think about going for this unit at 3 red, orange 4. It will basically be the same as it was at zero dupes, to be honest. Kind of trash. But yeah, so that's just what it does. I think it's mostly a stall tank slash initial grouper slash utility unit. That's it. I do not like to rely on this guy for damage. I tried quite a few of different compositions using him as a main DPS, and all of them felt annoying to play. The main reason why I think this guy sucks as the main DPS of a team is that he needs to kill an enemy within 10 seconds. If he cannot do that, he's dead. And that's annoying. That's really annoying. And also, if for some reason he still survives because maybe you have a team with a lot of survivability, but he could not kill anybody. So let's say he's alive after 15 seconds, but nobody is dead in the enemy team. It will be out of his passive state, which means his damage is going to be 0. So even if he manages to survive because of the team you're using, it will still do no damage. So that's bad. I mean, he only deals damage while in the passive state. And I think that's a bit too restrictive. I don't like using him as a solo DPS unit. It's really annoying. Like, you have to make him kill somebody in 10 seconds, and that's not always possible. The thing would be different if we can integrate or add a second DPS. I don't think Cherry is good with him. So the next unit we're going to talk about, because she takes a bit of time to ramp up, and most of the times that's not enough to kill somebody in 10 seconds. So I get that they have some synergy, but I don't like to use Cherry as the other DPS for Beta. So if you really want to use Beta as sort of a DPS unit, you also need a second DPS. which kind of defeats the purpose of investing in a DPS unit to begin with. So I'm not too excited about maxed out beta, to be honest. I think this is one of the easiest skip we had lately. So if you're in doubt, I would say just skip him. It's really not really worth it. He's going to do fine at zero dupes if you want a stall tank for like Gustang or whichever other team you might need. He's going to do fine at zero dupes. It's basically a replacement for Data Machine, kind of, with some additional features. It might not group all units the same way that Machine does, because obviously having a teleport on the enemy team, it's tricky. If enemies dash to your team or whatever, they could not be aggroed by beta, but it's still reliable enough, so I think it's quite good. So yeah, that's my first impression, my thoughts on this unit. Again, I already mentioned whether you should be pulling for him or not, but I will say it again in this part. I think if you want to go for zero dupes, it is fine, but for that, probably you don't even have to pull on his banner. Just use an SSR Plus box, even though I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, or just wait until you will get him in the normal banner PT once he's added to that, or with an SSR Plus shard, or maybe you have some purple gems and you can get him in the gem shop, and that's okay. So yeah, if you can obtain him in those ways, great. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't bother. I wouldn't pull for him just for getting him at zero dupes. I think it's a waste of potentially 100 tickets if you're unlucky. So I'd rather get him some other way. And if you're thinking about maxing him out, keep in mind he will kind of struggle as a solo carry. It could work at lower floors when there are no enemies that have crazy high invincibility frames or super durable or whatever. There are crazy annoying units in the higher stages. But if you are still below floor 100, it could be doing fine on his own, I believe. I still have to try him out on my free-to-play account. I will definitely use the trial. I'm already above floor 100, but still I think it should be working as a main DPS in that scenario. But keep in mind, that's not future-proof. It will not solo carry anything. And if you want to make him work as a solo carry, you will have to invest a lot of good supports on him, which will like decrease the performance of the remaining teams. So I don't like that. And if you want to use him as a DPS, you might also want to use a second DPS unit, which again defeats the purpose of having a DPS or like pulling for a DPS. So I don't think maxing him is the smart thing to do at the moment. But if I find out any crazy combo in the following days, well, as soon as I find it out, I will write a post so that you are aware of it and I warned you. But then I will obviously also mention that in the character review. But I'm pretty confident that's not going to happen. I think this is a safe skip. It can be skipped 100%. So yeah, that's my first impression on beta. If we want to talk about which ignition weapon to run, etc., I've tried Rafflesia, I've tried Ryanna. I think both are okay. It doesn't really matter what you give him, because for Rafflesia, he is already immune to status effects when he's in the passive state, so it doesn't matter. And Ryanna is good, it's probably the best option you have, but you're not going to kill anybody with the first hit anyway. And you don't need survivability, so all the other sets are kind of trash. I don't know. At the moment, there is nothing that is especially good. They are going to buff all the old ignition weapon sets, so probably Ryanna is going to be even better for him. So if you have to give him a set, I would go for Ryanna, and you can give him just the full damage one. If you're just using him as a sort of stall tank, you can give him whatever. It doesn't matter. You can actually give him Barry in that scenario, because that way you have a 2-second buffer before the passive triggers, which means it's going to last at the very least 12 seconds, and he has a bit more time for like your team to be killing enemies and his passive to get extended. So Barry definitely can work as a zero dupe unit. You don't even have to upgrade any piece. Just throw in 4 Barry at +0, and that will be perfectly fine. I don't know if it makes sense to also talk about Revolution, but let me see what I invested in on this guy. I went for the first two nodes because I always do that, just for building up the archive. They're fairly cheap, so I always do that on every SSR Plus. Don't copy me, but that's what I do. Then I would normally also do the third one if it's somewhat useful for the unit. But in this case, lifesteal means nothing for this guy because when he's in the passive state, he's fixed at 1 HP. So lifesteal actually does nothing, zero. So why even bother? Then we have crit damage, obviously only if you want to go with a damage build. Then we have attack and crit rate. Defense, it's irrelevant. You want him to lose HP so that he enters the passive. Max cooldown reduction could be decent. I still don't want to make this investment on him, but it could be okay. Not the most insane node, but okay. Bonus elimination energy, I usually don't like it on any assassin unit for the most part, but on this guy could be decent because his special move is all of his damage, basically, and he does need to kill enemies for his passive to proc, so this should also trigger quite a lot of times. But I'm still not sure about it, so I'd rather build some energy recovery in the team instead of going for this node. So I skipped it for now. I might invest in it later, but for now I don't think I will. So okay, that's more than enough talking about beta. We can go over and look at Cherry La. So Cherry is a very interesting SSR unit. She's a great DPS. For some reason, they decided to make the HP damage here uncapped, which I was not expecting at all on an SSR unit. And this is also AoE. 12% per tick of damage, it's a lot of max HP damage. She has a lot of issues with that though, like she cannot really kill enemies that have a lot of cleanses. If it's only 1 or 2 units with a cleanse, it's fine. If it's like a Data Gustang or if it's a Lozel, it is okay. But if it is a unit like Garam, that's going to be a pain in the ass because Garam has it in the passive. Every 10 seconds, she's going to cleanse all the debuffs. So you cannot really prevent that from happening. And you will have to reset the stacks every 10 seconds, which is really annoying. So Garam is almost impossible to kill. Tenkatz is also almost impossible to kill because every time he uses his special move, he cleanses it, and there is no way you can perma-CC a Tenkatz because he has a sort of CC removal on the passive. So he will cast his special move, and it will remove the debuff on everyone, so you will be kind of screwed. So there are a lot of enemies that you will struggle against, but she's still an amazing DPS. She's one of the best she's the best SSR DPS we have, period. She's also better than a lot of SSR plus DPS units just because of this max HP damage. This is totally stupid. I don't know why they did it. We have a few issues with this unit as well, is that she needs a lot of grouping for it to work. Usually Irang is kind of mandatory. You can make it with other grouping units, but Irang is obviously the best at grouping, so it's a no-brainer. And then you just need survivability. That's all you need. You need the team to stay alive, to keep Cherry La like safe, and then you group them up, and that's it. If they don't have crazy debuff removal, they will die. So that's absolutely amazing. I really like that. I would say still a bit tricky to get to work because I find our teams to be very similar to what Eden would need. Talking about performance, to be honest, in some scenarios she's better than Eden, I think, but only very few scenarios. I think Eden is still a bit easier to use, which is weird because Eden, it's not really a unit you can auto with. It's going to struggle against a lot of teams. But I still think his playstyle is a lot quicker. You can burst down target enemies in a very short amount of time because you can just use the special moves back to back and an enemy is gone. But with Cherry La, you cannot do that. You need grouping for sure. Like if you don't have grouping, this unit is going to feel a lot worse. And once they're all stuck together, you're going to deal a massive amount of damage to all of them at the same time. That's a huge advantage that Cherry has over Eden. But in terms of ease of use, I think Eden is still a step above. It feels a bit better to play. And I struggled a lot less using Eden against the same matchup with the same team. I just swapped out Cherry for Eden, and usually the fight went a lot better. So, yes, I could see people saying that she's better than Eden, and I agree. Like in some scenarios, she is, but she still feels a bit more restrictive because Eden doesn't have any issues against like a Garam, Tenkats. Those units, he melts them. He has a lot less maybe counters, but you need to maybe tweak his team to work around that. For Cherry, there are just straight up some units she can do nothing about, and other matchups where you may be like need a few retries until they're grouped up, they are all stunned, and you just stack up the passives or the stacks from the special move. So yeah, I really like her. I will probably pull for her on my free-to-play account. So we'll see if she can act as my fifth carry. And yeah, I but I don't know. Like for this last point about the free-to-play account, I'm not sure yet. I want to do it. I think I have the resources because I also have 10 SSR boxes. But the fact that she's a bit annoying to build around, she would mess up my other teams. I don't know if it's worth it. I will try her out more on my main account and then decide. But definitely main DPS amazing, sub DPS also amazing, but I feel a bit a bit trickier to build around because then you only have 3 units that you can effectively use to add the grouping and add the survivability, which might be restrictive in certain scenarios. But definitely her kit is built to be used as a sub DPS because she has an attack buff for the highest attack unit in the team, excluding herself. And she also has an evasion buff for the highest attack unit. She has a skill block for the highest attack unit. She has swiftness increase for all the red allies for the first 10 seconds, and also a movement speed buff for the first 10 seconds, which is kind of nice. So overall, she's built to be used as a sub DPS for some SSR plus red DPS units. I kind of like the synergy with Beta, but at the same time, I don't. I think finding a team where you slot them both in is extremely annoying. I didn't like doing that. So I will try Cherry with maybe Evankel, Viol, those kind of units. Beta looks great on paper. I'm not so sure about it though. So we'll see. I still have to try her with the other ones, as I just mentioned, but she has potential as a sub DPS. She can be used as a main DPS, so that's really good. I think this is one of the best SSR units they released in quite a while. Well, also the only one they released in quite a few months, but okay. So yeah, that's my opinion on this unit and just my point of view. Regarding whether you should be pulling for her or not, will heavily depend on how many normal summon tickets you have. If you need sort of a main DPS or sub DPS kind of role, then you might want to go for her. She's definitely a really strong one. So if you have the resources, I would recommend going for her. But you have to keep in mind if you don't have Ice Spear Kunagero and Spear Baranak, I would still say they are better overall for an account compared to Charila. So you might want to save them up because they're going to rerun. They said sometime after anniversary. We don't know when that's going to happen. So at least keep like 600 to 700 tickets to spare when you get to around anniversary time. And if you can pour it for Cherry without like ruining your chances of going for Spear Baranak and Ice Spear Kunagero, then by any means do it. And yeah, that's just the only thing to consider. I think she's really an insane unit. They probably made a mistake because making an irrelevant unit like Charila this OP, it's a shame. But I don't know, they always do it. When a unit is irrelevant, the chances that they are going to be great are a lot higher than normal. So whatever. not even that unexpected. So amazing unit. I wouldn't want to miss her if I were you, but you have to consider your overall account situation. If you cannot like spare some good survivability supports for her, or if you really don't need an additional DPS, then she can be skipped. But in all other scenarios, I think she's a really safe pick. So if you like her, if you need her, go for her. You won't really regret that. Yeah, that kind of ends it for the should you pull or not. Talking about ignition weapon, I just gave her a Bari set. I think that's the best option just because she just needs to survive. She doesn't need anything else. You don't even need to go with like damage build because she has max HP damage. The attack percent portion of it is irrelevant. So just go ahead and give her resistances. Or if you're at a deficit where resistances don't work, give her slot 4 effect resistance. I should also do it because this set somehow is not really doing anything unless I did upgrade this one. I don't know why. Yeah, she doesn't have physical resistance, but the unit I had this one on did, so that's why there is this discrepancy. Okay, I will have to build a set dedicated for her. I will likely go Bari and then go effect resistance slot 4 and physical resistance here because on my deficit resistances still do something. Not exceptional, but they still do something. And maybe after the rework of a set like Rafflesia, those could become better for her. No clue. Probably yes. But yeah, that's all I can say for now about ignition weapons. Do not go for damage. Don't worry, guys. It doesn't matter at all. Then if we go for limit break, so not limit break, the revolution upgrade, I think she just needs the swiftness, and that's it. You don't go for attack, you don't go for crit damage, you don't go for crit rate, you don't go for special move pierce, you don't go for max cooldown reduction, because for SSR units the percentages are so low they barely matter. And as I was just mentioning, she deals max HP damage. It doesn't crit, it doesn't scale off of attack, doesn't matter. You don't even need accuracy because she has guaranteed lands on the special move with the Revolution 5, so that's great. And, or wait, was that Revolution 4? Let me check. No, it's Revolution 4. And also, talking about dupes and Revolution, I think you just need to get her to Orange 4, and she will do perfectly fine as a DPS. I used her for quite a bit at Orange 4, and she was doing great. So that's good enough. Revolution 5 is just upgrading the passive and making it unremovable. So for 10 seconds, you have movement speed buff and swiftness buff for red allies. And then you also have an active skill cooldown reduction every time she uses the special move. Decent, nothing groundbreaking, is only a 2-second decrease every, I don't know, quite a bit of time. She's not going to spam the special move that much. And also she has a 3-second focus whenever she uses it. So you cannot really decrease the active skill cooldown that frequently. So yeah. And that's okay. That's all I wanted to say for Revolution. I don't think there is anything else to comment on. So yeah, I think I will close this video here. Let me know in the comments how you feel about these two units, if you tried them for yourself, and how your, I don't know, like what your opinion is of them. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!